Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. This is the Radical Cup North America Series. My name is Tom Drewer, and we are going qualifying. The penultimate round of this series takes to the fast-flowing roller coaster that is Road Atlanta. And some big names in this series looking for the biggest prizes of all. 4 championships effectively on the line, a couple of other awards as well, and it's coming right down to the wire. You can see a couple of the cars just jockeying for position on this outlap, and Wayne Williams there in that stunning Dayglow yellow car, the One Motorsports car, leading the championship in the Platinum class, 466 points. But Louis Schreiber is just behind him in terms of the point score, and only 16 points behind. And Steve Jenks also right in the thick of things too. Chip Romer, an outside chance at this point, I guess, in the year, but everything to play for. And yesterday, Wayne Williams, so impressive in terms of his pace, had a massive moment into turn 12. And this is that section of the racetrack coming down the hill. It's off camber and flat out as you head on to the front straightaway here at Road Atlanta. Wayne Williams dumping the car into the dirt and doing a little bit of sprint car driving, which is what he was used to. But in the end yesterday, the man to beat in terms of Platinum class was Steve Jenks. He was quickest in both the official practice sessions, looked very comfortable all day. The Group A racing car, very, very quick. Did make a note to Jonathan Scarillo, team owner, of course, that they've won plenty of practice sessions this year. And now it's time to convert his pace into a pole position. We'll see if that happens in 25 minutes' time. But the main thing right now is to find some clear air. And you can see the traffic is extensive. Over 30 cars out on the racetrack. This is a big grid of Radical Cup competitors. In terms of the other classes, Pro 1500, we will at some point ride on board with the with Raider Nicole. And Raider Nicole in the 93 machines, leading the championship in Pro 1500. It is absolutely a stellar year for this young gun. He is almost 200 points clear of his nearest rival in the championship, and Raider Nicole can wrap things up this weekend. No doubt about that. He's won every single race so far in the season. As we continue to ride around this circuit with Scott Wagner and Wayne Williams looking pretty racy, but at the moment getting held up by the JBR car of Scott Wagner. So Williams will have to decide whether he's going to clear this car or fall back and find some space. Possible to get a little bit of a tow along the back straightaway here at Road Atlanta. It's a huge back straight with a couple of kinks. You can see the curve as they head under the Motul Bridge. And then there's another one just to the right here before the very steep downhill braking zone into 10A. Ultra critical to get a fantastic exit. You've got to time it just right. Get on the power somewhere between 10A and 10B so that you can keep accelerating. In fact, once you've committed to power, you're flat out right through to turn 1. And Wayne Williams looking to size up Scott Wagner, and he's got blocked. So Scott Wagner really helping out Louis Schreiber, who's already put in a decent time. Louis Schreiber is driving with a broken wrist. So Louis Schreiber had a fall, nothing untoward, just had a trip, but found himself with a broken wrist as well as a sprained ankle. he's injured effectively in this car this weekend, but his championship, he must keep it alive. And at this point, he's hoping that it will just be a case of salvaging points. A 122.2 is what Louis Schreiber's put on the board so far. Wayne Williams even being held up at a 122.2 as well, but 7/100ths of a second behind. Scott Wagner, who was just ahead of Wayne Williams, with a 122.4. So it's very, very close in the Platinum class. Just watching one of our Pro 1500 competitors come around turn 6. Actually, it was... and there is Elaine Dursey, who's returning to the championship. So the 25 machine had a bit of a tough day at the office yesterday. Dale Dillon with some work for the Graham Rahal performance crew. Dale Dillon, a disabled competitor, taking full advantage of the FIA's directive on how to deal with a motor car if you're disabled, and it's a hand clutch in that vehicle. So the Megaline system approved by the FIA, controlling the clutch in the SR10. Said it's absolutely perfect, and he's just trying to get himself up to pace. Dale Dillon only with a few Radical Cup races under the belt. And Austin Riley in car 20, always one to watch. He's been on the podium multiple times this year. In fact, Austin Riley, racing with autism, another driver with a fantastic story, an absolute ambassador around the globe now. And with fans in Australia, the UK, he's really created a movement. And the red flag is out early. So Road Atlanta, not surprising perhaps to see a red flag. We've got a car off just under it's just beyond the Fox Factory Bridge. And a car the wrong way, just on the entry there to the alternative pit lane. So it looks like car 10. And that is Chris Hunn. So one of our local drivers for Primal Racing. As everyone pulls back into the pit lane, and crucially for Steve Jenks, he's converted that fantastic performance in the practice sessions in the provisional pole for SRN Platinum class, a 120.9. So the only driver in the 20 at the moment. Louis Schreiber, even with a broken wrist, is second fastest. Scott Wagner, third fastest. Wayne Williams, the championship leader. This is not good news for him. Fourth quickest at the moment. Rayden Nicole is fastest in Pro 1500, a 1:23.8 for the young gun from Georgia, and literally lives around the corner from this racetrack. A lot of friends and family coming out this weekend to support him in his quest to take his maiden championship. In his rookie season, it's been a stellar year, as we mentioned earlier. Valen Venkatech, a young gun as well, and he's a rookie driver, and very, very impressive so far this weekend. A 1:24.1. He's second quickest in Pro 15 currently. Matt Roma is a strong competitor whenever he comes along to the championship. He's third quickest, and then it's Jack Yang, the fastest of the gold class, the subclass within Pro 1500 for driver 30. Jack Yang fastest in that, fourth quickest in 1500. Spencer Schmidt having a decent run, fifth fastest. Another rookie in Persing just behind him. Luke Kemp rounding out the top 7 in that class. And Brady Clapp was able to put in a burner in the Pro 1340 class. 27 flat for him so far. Well and truly eclipsing Kenny Nail, who's second quickest, hasn't put in a proper effort so far. He got a 1:31 on the board, but it is good enough for second quickest. Dermot Ennis, who sits second in the championship points, third quickest in the class, and Blake McGovern yet to turn the racetrack. They will be joining us though, so whilst qualifying is a little bit thin for Pro 13, the field will expand to 5 cars once we go racing, possibly not until Saturday morning though. So all cars are in. The flatbed is out. We've actually had another car at the start of the pit lane that also found the wall. So 2 cars coming together, and 1 car just being towed out back onto the pit lane. Strange to see a car there just the pit wall. The car getting towed just out onto pit lane at the moment. They recover the other car, and we didn't pick that up originally. It was just there, we can see it. So the car, you can see the streaks across the grass, but it's gone right into the wall, the entry of the pit lane. So 2 cars off as part of that commotion. There you have it. There's that wall, and you can see it's almost target fixation, as the driver didn't quite make it into pit lane. So it doesn't look like there's too much damage there. Lots of grass on the 13 of Arul Venkatesh. So whilst younger brother Valen's second quickest in class, Arul Venkatesh found the grass, and luckily it looks like he did pull it up in time. So the other car is still stricken, and it's a bit of a long recovery there. It's surprising to see. Obviously, a little bit of damage, and it does look like the left rear corner of that car might be slumped a little bit. There's certainly some dramas. Now, the clock is still ticking, and 12 minutes remaining. So, it's ruffled a few feathers, I can tell you, in this paddock. The likes of Williams will be looking for this session to go back green. Of course, Jenks will be more than happy if it doesn't. And in Pro 1500, the likes of Mike Ansaldi stuck down in 8th quickest in that class. We haven't seen, I guess, what Jonas Axbo can do yet. A Danish driver who's come in for Cameron Racing, and the 32 sits down 9th quickest in Pro 1500 at the moment. Chris Hunn, who's been fast all year, another local for Road Atlanta, who found that wall and is being recovered. He's 10th quickest at the moment. Austin Riley is the one that's really missing a lap time. Car 20 sits down in position 21st on the grid, and that does not bode well if Austin's going to try and keep up that streak of podiums in Pro 1500. So a bit of a shuffled order. That could make very good racing for race 1. There's quite a few drivers, though, that have yet to set an indicative lap. And so if we can get this session going, which we will shortly, it will be about 10 minutes on the clock. Of course, it's around about a 1 minute 30 lap time. So we can expect about 8.5 minutes of this session in terms of green flag. And all the drivers will be trying to promptly find some space and put in a burner. A lot of drivers yet to do so, really find their feet in this qualifying session this morning. It was a pretty calm day yesterday. Only one driver finding the wall late in the day. In fact, it was just at the end of the final session of 4 for the Radical Cup North America Series. Lots of track time for the drivers here at Road Atlanta. And the green flag flies once again. So we're going to see all the cars launch out of pit lane. A couple of drivers electing just to hang fire. They're going to wait for around about a minute before their crew chiefs roll them out. And so drivers thinking that it might go red again. The idea of just hanging back is that you can find some clear space and make sure that that first flying lap counts. Now, the Hankook tyres usually take a bit of time to come in over the session, but that's not going to be the case today. It's going to be ultra critical to find that lap time first time out. And Raiden Nicol goes out for another attempt. Steve Jenks still lingering in the pit lane, and you can see drivers already shuffling for position, and it almost looks like a race out there as someone gets the door slammed into turn 6, and I think even tagged the car in front in turn 7. So these guys have got to find clear space. You can see Chip Romer in that Stella Artois car, the number 5 Platinum class car, just trying to work out where he's going to slot into the melee of drivers that are heading down into 10A. This is ultra critical though. Basically, their lap is already done because the exit of 10A is where the lap time starts. The start-finish line might be on the front stretch, but if you're not exiting 10A, it's all over and they're going to have to wait for another lap. So you can already see that Chip Romer realizes that and he's backed out of it. So what can Wayne Williams do? 4th quickest at the moment. Chip Romer's been racy as well. David Albon returns to the championship. A bit of a hiatus for him. He should be quick. Jim Booth, never count out. That old dog. Jim Booth, one of the most storied radical races. And the red flag's already out again. So disaster for a number of drivers. We'll try and pick up where that accident has occurred. But a red flag out. So on the outlap, there has been an issue. And again, this is where it's so crucial when qualifying to put in a solid first, an opening lap. Get something on the board. And the pressure has risen this morning and a huge off. So that's in the S's. Ah, it's turn 1. It's up the hill at turn 1. So certainly a big off and a big impact there. And you can see that the car has made contact with the tyre bundles and then been returned to the grass. And turn 1, around about 130 miles an hour. That looks like it might even be. So it's the top of turn 2. Just trying to pick up the car. I had a horrible feeling it was Raiden Nicol. No, you'll be pleased to know he's safe down in pit lane. But a big moment there. And certainly the tyre bundles and the walls around Road Atlanta can be a challenge. But 6 minutes remain on the clock. It's going to be ultra critical that they can try and clear this car if we're going to get this session back going. Of course, first things first. We just want to make sure the driver is okay. It looks like the driver's out of the car under his own power, so that's good news. But I dare say with 6 minutes remaining, we may see an early end to this session. Of course, Charlie Kimball and the USAC folk up in race control will be doing their best to try and get this going again. But this is going to be a tough ask for the rollback crew. They're very, very efficient here at Road Atlanta. But it all depends on how stricken this car is. And again, likely that car has bounced into the wall before it returned to the grass. So Steve Jenks, again, capitalizing on getting a lap time in earlier, 1:20.9. He sits on the provisional pole. Alongside him, in theory, will be Louis Schreiber, with a broken wrist. An impressive performance from him. Scott Wagner and Wayne Williams will be the second row of the grid, outright and in the Platinum class as it stands. Raiden Nicol and Valen Venkatesh. And amazingly, the classes really separated out. So the top 7, all platinum class, and then the next 7, all Pro 1500. So this is going to be a fantastic first race in the Radical Cup North America Series. Multi-class racing, but the front runners in each class all line astern and side by side on the grid as it stands. So Raiden Nicol, Valen Venkatesh, Matt Roma, third quickest in class. Jack Yang rounds out the top 4. And in Pro 1340, again, the points leader, Brady Clapham. Again, showing his stuff. He's just come off the back of a few wins at Motorsport, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And Brady Clapham celebrating a strong finish to the Canadian Championship. He decided to commit to the Radical Cup North America Series, missed a round of the Canadian Championship, and therefore was just unlucky not to take that championship as well, actually. Just a few points behind because of missing a round, but finished out the year strong north of the border and is doing the same here south of the border. So race control is still hopeful that we may get one more flyer. There's 3 minutes on the clock, so it is possible perhaps that the cars will just get out in time to start one more flyer. Of course, if that is the case, a lot of pressure on these drivers to put in a lap. It's around about 1 minute 30, of course, so it is conceivable as well that some drivers further back down pit lane may not get the opportunity to start a final flying lap. We're going to need about 2 minutes, I think, and we're almost going to get lucky and get it if Track Services can get this car on the rollback quickly. And I've got to say, they've done a good job of extracting that car. Obviously, reasonable damage on that one. So we wait with anticipation. It almost feels inevitable that this red flag will result in the checker flag coming out, but they are trying their best. And if we can get this one going again, I know that everyone will be doing their best to achieve it. They are starting to pack up and move away from the scene. It's getting very, very touch and go, though, whether anyone will be able to complete a lap. And Steve Jenks will be hoping that this checker flag does come out. He is the provisional pole sitter in the Platinum class. It's a big weekend for Steve. He was saying his first race in a Radical was at Road Atlanta. His first race win, anyway. So, unfortunately, we have been given the call from race control. Time certain schedule, and the checker flag is out on the session. So Steve Jenks converts his pace in practice to the provisional pole for the Platinum class, a 1:20.9, the fastest time this morning from the Radical Cup America Series. Louis Schreiber will join him on the front of the grid, of course, if all these cars get protect, that is. Scott Wagner is third quickest in the session. Wayne fourth fastest in class. Choma rounds out the top 5. And Raiden Nicol fastest. He's put it on pole once again in Pro 1500. Valen Venkatesh, what a stellar result for that young Matt Roma. Also right up there. Jack Yang, fourth quick. Spencer Schmidt rounding out the top 5. Shout out to Ryan Persing and Luke Campbell. And then in Pro 1340, Brady Clapham continues that streak. Points gathering with another pole in class from Kenny Nail for Graham Rahal Performance, and Dermot Ennis, a privateer, doing a solid job in this championship, second in the points for Pro 1340. So that's a good battle between himself and Kenny Nail. And that wraps it up. So John Field not joining us this weekend. Big announcement for him. He's actually testing an LMP2 car. And John Field has been the reigning champion in the Radical Cup for the last 2 years. A full season of IMSA now committed, and that program starts this weekend. So we wish John Field the best of luck. Glad that Radical Racing was the thing that brought him back to motorsport and reignited the passion. 2 championship wins in the Platinum class, and now back in the main game of the IMSA competition. Well, that wraps things up. We can see the results again on screen. We will join you later today for race 1. That's race 1 of 3 from Road Atlanta. And from all of us at Radical Cup, join us along the live stream. We'll bring you plenty of action this weekend. And we'll see you a little bit later on for race 1.